Welcome everyone to the inspiring Ohana series. Today we have lots of learning, lots of experience sharing with our guest Lilith. Welcome Lilith.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, really excited to talk to you. Hopefully, we can inspire some other people on their journeys as well. Yeah.
Yes, awesome. So Lilith, please share something about yourself first as introduction to our audience. Then we will have some discussion.
Yeah, okay, great. So, yeah, my name is Lilith Van Biesen. I work at Wake. They are a Salesforce partner, and I work there as technical lead, but I also do a lot of solution architecture. So, frequently getting in touch with business, figuring stuff out, seeing what their requirements are, and trying to provide the best possible solution there. So that's really what I love to do. I love problem solving, and for me, it's all a big puzzle, right? So it's a Sudoku. I have to, I have to use the boundaries, the limitations of the system. That's my, canvas, and with that, I have to find something that meets their needs, and that's, yeah, I love it. I really love it. I love my job.
Yeah, awesome. And that's, overall we required. We should love what we are doing. Awesome. So let's go in some background, like something, how you started Salesforce career journey. Then we'll have some more discussion.
Okay, so I'll try to keep it a bit brief because it's
Yes.
quite a long story. So for those who have looked at my LinkedIn profile, you may notice that my first background is not quite as technological. It's nothing to do with computers. So I did advanced linguistics first. And it was in the last year of that journey that I found that, okay, this is really, really interesting. But apparently there's not a lot of people waiting for neurolinguists or psycholinguists on the job market. And what can I offer? So yes, I have a lot of theoretical knowledge, but I cannot build something. And my husband, who is a software engineer, he can do all these cool things and I can't. So that was, yeah, the thing that I noticed is okay, I want to be able to create something, to really, look at something and say, this is what I made. It works. It's going to help someone in their life. And that is what I then try to find. Okay, how am I going to achieve this? So I looked at the different colleges, and the studies that they offered. And I found Erasmus College in Brussels. And they offered Multech, which is multimedia and communication technology, is super, super broad. So you can go graphic design, programming. It has so many different layers. And it was really, for me, amazing because it allowed me to dive into so many different parts of technology and IT that I didn't quite consider before. So I was doing this while I was also a researcher. So being a working student wasn't always easy, but it allowed me to set my own path. And then in 2017, that path led me to a very, very slow semester because I had done most of my prerequisites, but I couldn't do my dissertation yet. I couldn't do my internship yet. So I had so much free time on my hands. I was like, yeah, I want to do something useful now. So let's take our first steps into IT. I was very lucky to meet Eve, one of my closest friends and managing partner, a Salesforce partner at that time. And he introduced me to Trailhead. It was love at first sight. I haven't stopped since. So it was just so cool to see that this tool could offer so much. You could build so much so quickly. And that is really, where I fell in love with Salesforce and its possibilities. And I was hired by him a month after, and I have been doing Salesforce ever since, really growing, learning more, and then falling in love with the credentials as well. So diving into that journey, keep on learning, right?
Wow. So many inspiring message. Like, people having a background of computer science, we say, yeah, they can grow in IT industry. It's usual. And you mentioned like starting from non-IT, like no background of computer science, and now you are learning lots of things. And if you say about credentials, wow, lots of certifications. I will take some tips from you how to prepare for some of those certification for sure. But before that, you mentioned like trailhead love. So just we want to hear more about like how you make plan for learning, like which module, which topics, something in that context page.
Yeah, great, definitely. So it really depends. So always when, for example, I'm working on a project and I know, okay, I will dive into this or that technology, they are working with this product and I haven't really dived into too deep in that one, or maybe they're working with, let's say, forecasting. So I know in theory what it is, but that doesn't mean that I, feel very comfortable implementing it. And that is really where Trailhead is the best resource, because it doesn't just offer you the theory, it also allows you to get hands-on and get feedback. I think the hands-on modules and the projects that they offer is one of the things that is quite unique that I haven't always seen in e-learning platforms. The ability to not only see, okay, how is someone else doing it, but try it yourself. Yeah, that is really amazing. So that's always my first go-to. When in doubt, go to Trailhead, then documentation, and then the forums, because to be honest, we have really a lot of resources for Trailhead or Salesforce related questions. So that's when it's project related. But I have a lot of credentials, and when I do those, I always start on Trailhead too. Let me just dive into what Trailhead has to offer, and then I'll dive deeper. But I want to get this high-level overview, and that is what Trailhead is really good at, showing you this is what the product can do. If you want to go into really the nitty-gritty, there's a great documentation. But if you just want to know what is the goal, how can this help someone, yeah, then Trailhead is completely sufficient.
Awesome, thank you for sharing. And if you say about certifications, so how you make the list of certifications? Okay, I need to go for this certifications, then I will go for this certifications. Please share some experience.
Yeah, for me, it's always been quite natural, to be honest. So yeah, I think admin is like the typical first one for a lot of people, which is actually kind of tricky because it's not easy. The admin one, it seems as though it's easy, but you have to know really the configuration already quite well. So there are some things that you may, you may know, but you forget because you're just so used to finding your way. And for the exam, you really have to know. So it was the first one, and it was a bit a learning curve to understand, okay, how did they ask questions? What do I need to take a look at? And then all the other certifications were all either based on, I did a project with this tool. I did some development work. Let's see if I can do developer one. I worked with Sales Cloud, Service Cloud for projects, so it makes sense to roll into those. So that's the core, let's say, same for community. But then the other ones, such as Einstein or Tableau CRM right now, sorry, Field Service Lightning and CPQ, those were more, I was going to go into projects where they were using this. Same for Pardot. And I wanted to already have a basis of what is there, what is going on, so that if a question pops up or I have to collaborate with a team member who knows very well, that we are able to speak the same language, that I'm not like hearing beep when they're talking about more technical stuff. I really want to understand. And that's how I approach it. So I don't always have a lot of hands-on experience when I go for certain credentials. I just want to make sure that I know it very well. And if I can get the credential, it means that I at least know the theory. Hands-on is always going to be, just experience that you have to gather. There's no way around it. But at least you know what it should be like. And that's already like, let's say 30, 40% there.
Wow, awesome. So mix of theory and of course hands-on in our day-to-day life as well as while learning. Okay.
Exactly.
Uh, I am also on the path of system architect. Recently, I completed application one, and I got to know like identity designer exams. These are very difficult. Any tips from you, like how we should like prepare for those?
Well, yeah, of course, there's these great trail mixes for these. So that's definitely, it was my first stop and I'm really diving in deeper. And to be honest, when I first did them, I did them really based on the trail mixes, diving in deeper in the things that I found that I knew I had gaps in. But now when I'm on the journey to CTA, having passed all these prerequisites, I'm finding all these good materials that I wish I would have, looked for earlier. So I think right now, looking back, definitely trail mix, but also Ladies Be Architect, Apex Hours, SIMA. There's so many great community groups. So just look for those. Scour also YouTube, because it's really easy. If someone points and clicks you through it in a demo-wise way, it makes it easier to understand than when you're trying to, do it yourself, because sometimes you just get stuck and you don't know why or when. And the amazing thing is that a few people have the same issue when they're demoing, but then that's when you learn the most. When other people get stuck during a demo and you see how they recover, it's not a very nice situation for them to be in, but you learn so much, because you learn, okay, if something goes wrong, where do I look? And usually in a demo, you only see if everything works, this is how it looks, but that's never the real life, right? So learning from your own or other people's mistakes, that's really a prize.
Awesome. Yes, we do mistakes and then we learn, and that in our long term memory, right? Awesome.
Yeah, you remember way better if you've done this mistake.
Yes. Well, so as we know, like no matter someone is from coding background or maybe someone is awesome admin, they are going to prepare for CTA. So, in it, what's your view? Like people should have from coding background or they should from non-coding background, as per your experience from those certifications?
Yeah, I'm of course fortunate to have some coding background, so I think that really, really helps. Um, I, from what I've heard and what I've seen in the ecosystem, you don't necessarily need to be able to code to achieve this. However, you need to be able to read code though, right? So you need to be able to understand what are some pitfalls that can happen. And it doesn't mean that you actually need to be able to write them yourself, but you have to know, why is bulkification important? Why would you use one API over another? These are things that usually it's more within the developer type of knowledge. And it's really essential as an architect, is what I've seen in the mock reviews that I've done and judged. And this is really, you have to know why you're proposing certain things. You have to be able to dig deeper, and that is really not easy if you have no hands-on experience. So one of the examples for me personally is governance. The governance part. How do we structure this? How do we set up CI/CD? Of course, I've worked with this, but I've never set up a CI/CD pipeline myself. I've always been very fortunate to have very talented people working together with me who have done this. So I don't ask me to right now tell you how to do this click by click. I can't. So that is tricky, and I have to just do it. I have to really know what it is, because otherwise I will not achieve the CTA review board. I will not be successful, because you really have to understand why you're proposing certain things. And yeah, that's what I think is really important. And that's also why, in contrast to the other ones, I'm really doing this as more of a group effort. While the other ones, it was just me and my computer, getting cozy, diving into topics, just study, study, study. Here it's practice and talk to a lot of people, because people know so much. And if you, again, can learn from other people's mistakes or from what they have experienced, you will remember so much better, and it will click. These little things, they will click. You will understand, okay, that's why people propose it. It's just those buzzwords. It's really, there's a complete logic behind it, but it's not always easy to understand.
Awesome, thank you. And yeah, we can say this is one of the reason platform developer one exam is in both sides, like in the application architect path as well as in the system architect path. So we, at least you should have some basic understanding. Awesome. Well,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
Thank you. So you shared like for these exams you have prepared with tail message. Now, how you are preparing for next, like so for CTA board? Any tips, suggestions for us?
Yeah, so the way I have been tackling it is, of course, rereading all the things that I've done as part of the domain certifications, because for the domains, it's a different type of knowledge that you need to have. You need to be able to identify some concepts and recognize what the correct solution is when they are provided to you, because it's multiple choice. So it's really like a luxury position. It's as if you have all these solution architects coming to you, telling you, this are our proposals, which one do you want? But they're, that's luxury. That's not how CTA will go. As a CTA, you have to do this work. You have to read requirements and say, okay, this is what I would propose. So you need to be able to apply it. So you have to have a deeper understanding of what these concepts are. And that is what I try to do. And this is also you really get by talking to people, because you don't know your own gaps until you talk to someone and they say, no, I don't think that's how it works. Let's discuss. And that is really how I've been doing it. So I have a study group. We meet every day during the week from 7:30 to 8:30. So an hour in the morning before we start work. And then we have 4 hours every Saturday. Now we're doing only mocks on Saturdays. So that is how I'm making sure that I get this knowledge. And then, of course, yeah, the CTA Benelux study group from Kit, Sergey, and Georgi. And yeah, that is where I see a lot of mock reviews. And also, again, I can get to share and learn from other people. And that's how I'm preparing for this. Maybe something what a lot of people ask is, how much time do you invest? For me, on average, it's about 20 to 25 hours a week on top of my work. So yeah, I have very full evenings and weekends.
Wow, great dedication for learning and preparation. Yeah, you have mentioned very good point. Like for these exams, application architect, system architect, we have objective. I mean MCQ exams. So we have some options. We can see the options and we can think. But if we are preparing for review board, then we need to implement the things. So do you think like if we are preparing for system architect and application architect, then these learnings are going to utilize in my city review board? How we can make sure that yeah, we are going to utilize that learning?
Yeah, definitely. So now I think if I would do those credentials again, I would really make sure that I completely can apply these already and not only have the theoretical knowledge, because I had more theoretical knowledge, as especially on identity, because yeah, this is not something that most people get to implement all the time, because once it's there, it should work and people don't really touch it, or it remains kind of stable there, or it should. That's what you really want for an identity solution. So I think there, if I were to do the domains again, I would make sure that I dive deeper and really understand even more, because it will help you later on when you're going for that last leg. Because it's really important to understand, this is something that everyone who is on the journey and who has completed the journey will tell you, is getting the prerequisites. That is all, you work towards that and it takes quite a bit of effort, but after you're done with those, you're not ready to be, to go for the CTA review board. You're not ready at all. The first time I did a mock, I was really thinking to myself, what on earth am I doing? I can't do this. This is so much information I have to provide. There is so much things that I need to know. I don't know all of this. But then the second time I was more confident. I was like, yeah, I mean, of course I don't know everything, but now you really, really grow. It's amazing. After your prerequisites, you've already grown quite a bit in the journey towards those. But after, you will grow even more, because you will get so many new insights by doing this and really trying to apply this and solving these scenarios. It's, yeah, I was not ready, or I was not prepared for that, to have this I didn't expect to have this experience, and it's been amazing. So yeah, I would highly recommend.
Awesome. And yes, agree. Like we don't know everything, but yes, we learn, we prepare, and we forget, we again learn.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yes.
That's also fine. I mean, that's how you learn. You have to repeat things because no way you will remember them from the first try.
Yes. Well, so you are also aiming for the solution architect exam. Like currently we have new B2C solution architect. So you are also aiming for that because you have already have integration designer.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I would only need to have the marketing email specialist, but that only is a big only because I have absolutely no marketing cloud background. So for me right now, I'm more focusing on the CTA. Of course, yeah, I really want to dive into marketing cloud and B2B commerce a bit more and eventually go for this certification as well, because as you may have noticed, I quite like certifications and I like the learnings and the understanding knowledge that I get from them and what the growth I have when I do those. So definitely I will try them, but likely not this year, maybe not even next year. I want to make sure that before I do that, that I get a better understanding of marketing cloud. And it's, I think, one of the biggest clouds there is, right? So it's huge.
Awesome. Yes. So once you will like go with the marketing cloud email specialist, then you will eligible for BTC solution architect exam. Okay. And now I have a very interesting question. Recently, just I and we saw your blog post. You have shared your experience about the meetups. So please share some those experience here as well, like attending those meetups, learning, and connecting with various trailblazers.
Yeah, gladly. So actually, I joined the first meetup or community event right before Belgium went in lockdown. So it was, I think, a month or something before, and it was the first time I ever went to such an event. So I didn't quite know what to expect, and I was completely blown away. There was so many smart people there sharing their, solutions and really showing how they implemented certain things, which I'm still amazed by. I still think from time to time back to what I saw there, just completely blown away with how smart, they went about doing this. So I was completely convinced. I thought, yes, I'm going to join every one of these and I'm going to take all my friends in Salesforce along. Let's go, let's all learn together and connect and see each other because we know each other, but we're different customers or we're different partners. So these are just excellent ways to connect with each other and learn at the same time. There's nothing better. But then, of course, we went into lockdown. So all those plans went out the window. And at first it was kind of, radio silence, right? So what is going to happen? Are these events going to happen at all? Will they be digital? But in the end, that's where everyone went, right? You started seeing all these communities, continuing to have events, but then bring them virtual. And that was just really cool because now I can join UK or Berlin or whichever community events I want. I'm joining the one from Amsterdam, for example, quite a bit because I really like some of the topics that they have. It's so interesting. And this was for me really like the silver lining, like, okay, so maybe I can't really go in person to these events, but now I can join all of them and meet so many new people. It's actually, something, it's a benefit of this crazy situation is that you can now connect to more people and see things that you wouldn't see otherwise. And I've been to Virtual Dreaming was the first big virtual conference I went to. It was amazing. It was, I don't know how these guys pull it off. I bet they didn't sleep for like months. It was so good. And it set really a high bar for the next conferences and events. But they were also, I've really enjoyed every one of the conferences I've done so far. And the first time you go, you're kind of like the wallflower, right? Just looking, just seeing what other people are doing here. Is it okay if I ask a question? But then after a while, in the Ohana, everyone is completely, in a collaborative spirit. They want you to ask questions. It should be interactive because that's how you learn. If it's not challenging someone, you're just asking them. It's all in a very positive mindset. And that is really what inspired me to just, completely go in, ask questions when I have questions, meet a lot of cool people because I'm asking these questions, and people are like, okay, maybe we should continue this discussion offline because it's quite interesting. So yeah, that's for me, that's kind of the story there. And then because I became more outspoken during these, they asked me to do Q&A moderation for Ask Me Anything. And then after that, I gave my first session this year in the SIMA session. So that's kind of been my journey so far. And the next big milestone will be when I do a session on a topic which is more technical, which isn't something that is just talking about, how I learn, which is very personal, and I can't say much wrong because, that's just how I do it. So the next step is then, trying to share knowledge and hopefully not make too many mistakes in the, in what I'm saying. Hopefully it's all correct. So that's the next step.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing how welcoming you felt in our community conferences and meetups. And you have also shared given session. So I will also glad to invite you someday for some technical session in future. So I hope to listen you there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing. So, let's summarize our talk. I think we are very interesting. We discussed lots of things. So, please let's summarize our talk and please share any message, any final message for our audience.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've seen and really learned is that in this niche that we're in Salesforce, in this community of people working with it, it's completely okay to ask. So if you feel like, okay, how did this person do this or that, or okay, this person seems knowledgeable, maybe I can pick their brain over this or that, or just ask. That's what I've been doing. And it has led me to another new experience. So earlier this week, I did a mock for an actual CTA who took time out of their schedule to, be a judge for my mock. So just ask. People are really, really willing to collaborate. People are very open and want to help you. And that is just, I think the biggest thing, and I think it's quite unique. I don't think there's too many other sectors and communities which are that open and collaborative as the Salesforce one. So that is, I think, my message there. Everyone is on the same path. We all want to improve. We all want to make it better. So, just ask. People are willing to help.
Yes, we all want to grow together, and we say let's succeed together with our Trailblazer community. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. So yeah, if you have any question, reach out to your fellow Trailblazers, ask questions, share answers. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you once again, Lilith, for joining us today and sharing journey and tips with us. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.